Yeah, good morning, everyone. This meeting is called to order. Mr. Troman, has anyone signed up for public comment? Thank you. Good morning, Ms. Miller.
Good morning, sir.
All right, agenda item 3, no cases to reconsider.
Correct, no cases.
Let's see, on agenda item 4 for tax liability cases, nope, no tax cases.
No tax cases, sir.
Oh, fair housing cases, none, I
No,
don't
sir.
think. No child labor cases.
No, sir.
Oh, let's see here. No wage claim cases on agenda item 7 pulled for additional discussion.
That's correct. None pulled for additional discussion, but you should have received the wage claim short form dissent list for dockets 39 and 40.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining wage claim cases on dockets 39 and 40.
Not second the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting as reflected in the wage claim short form dissent list for docket 39 and 40.
I concur with chairman's motion, except for those cases in which I am dissenting, as reflected on wage claim short form dissent list for docket 39 and 40.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted. Let's move to agenda item 8, consideration of unemployment insurance cases on docket 39. Please proceed when you're ready.
Case number 2600828, Commissioner Dimerson.
We should have modified the appeal tribunal decision. The employer provided sworn testimony that they received the AT1 hearing notice on the date of the scheduled hearing. Although the employer attempted to call in, they could not call in at the time of the hearing. Since the preponderance of the evidence indicates that the employer was unable to attend the AT hearing due to delayed receipt of the hearing notice, we should find that the employer established good cause for missing the AT1 hearing and resubmit the case for merits testimony.
The AT decision is correct. Regarding the good cause issue, the employer did not appear at the prior hearing because they failed to update their address of record. The hearing notice was properly sent to the employer's corporate office, but did not reach the employer's witness prior to the hearing. This situation was completely within the employer's control, and the employer failed to establish good cause for their failure to appear at AT1. Regarding the job separation, the employer alleged that their initial response that the claimant's performance declined and that she failed to respond to calls but provided no specific details. Therefore, the employer has failed to establish that the claimant engaged in actions that could be considered misconduct connected with the work. Affirmed the AT, employer did not have good cause for AT1. No misconduct chargeback.
Reverse the AT, employer established good cause for AT1, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3029751, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not supportable. The employer discharged the claimant because the chief of police for the school district believed that the claimant did not follow his instructions to issue trespassing citations to 2 students from another school district. However, in the days following the incident, the claimant had already contacted the other school district to identify the 2 students in question, went to the students' homes, and instructed the students' parents to bring the students to the school so that the claimant could issue the trespassing citations. The claimant followed the chief's instructions to take action in response to the incident and, as such, was not insubordinate. We should reverse the AT, no misconduct, bill reimbursing employer.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. Although the claimant was instructed to take action regarding the threat of violence involving a child, the claimant failed to follow the employer's specific instructions regarding the complaint and took no action to resolve the issue. Since the claimant was aware of the employer's directives for resolving a complaint, the claimant's failure to adhere to the employer's instructions was a mismanagement of his position of employment. As such, we should affirm the AT decision, misconduct, reimbursing employer not billed.
Reverse the AT, no misconduct, bill reimbursing employer.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Dimerson.
Thank you.
Case number 3042191, Commissioner Dimerson.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant was placed on a performance improvement plan, a PIP, due to a change in his attitude and a decline in his performance after he did not receive a promotion. Despite multiple meetings and counseling sessions, the claimant failed to improve. Thus, because the claimant did not successfully complete the PIP, he was discharged for misconduct connected with the work. We should affirm the AT decision, misconduct, reimbursing employer not billed, sever the adequate employer response. In the alternative, if my fellow commissioners have doubts, we should grant a hearing in this case. The length of time of the claimant's PIP is uncertain. The claimant testified that he was first placed on a 90-day PIP, but that it was extended an additional 50 days. If this is the case, the PIP would have extended into January 2021. In addition, although documentary evidence describes how the claimants failed to meet the terms of his PIP, this was not well developed with testimony during the hearing. Accordingly, we should rehear to further develop the record on these issues.
The AT decision is not correct. The employer discharged the claimant for job performance issues, but the only specific performance issues alleged were too remote from the time of the termination to be considered misconduct. The employer failed to provide specific evidence of any incident of insubordination that occurred proximate to the time of the discharge. Instead, the only incident that could be considered the final incident was the claimant informing the employer that he had filed a EEOC complaint. The complainant making a legitimate complaint about his working conditions cannot be considered misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, bill reimbursing employer, void adequate response.
Modify the AT, misconduct, reimbursing employer not billed, sever adequate response.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Commissioner Trevino.
Case number 3122659, Commissioner Dimerson.
The AT decision is not supportable. Concerning the timeliness of protest issue, the case is substantially identical with some companion cases, appeals in which the employer has offered consistent and credible testimony that it did not receive the notice of maximum potential chargeback. The notice in this case was mailed on April 27, 2020, which was definitely within the time frame during which TWC and postal systems were still overwhelmed with the pandemic, and non-receipt of mail items was unfortunately a fact of life for TWC claimants and employers. While it's possible that the employer's non-receipt of the MPC was caused by a negligent employee, it's equally possible that in May of 2020, the NMPC simply never made its way to the employer's office. There's sufficient evidence to accept the employer's testimony that it did not receive the notice and hold its protest timely. Accordingly, we should modify the AT decision. The employer had good cause to miss the first hearing, hold the protest timely, and resubmit the case on the merits of the chargeback issue.
The AT decision is correct. TWC mailed the notice of maximum potential chargeback to the employer's correct address. The employer failed to present any credible evidence as to whether the notice was received by the employer and has failed to rebut the presumption of receipt. Affirm the AT, late response to notice of maximum potential chargeback. The employer's account remains charged.
Reverse the AT, timely response to the NMPC, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3165129, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision should be modified. I agree that the claimant filed a late appeal, but due to the continuing open period ineligibility, the commission may assume jurisdiction over the ineligibility of January 19th of 2022. The claimant was unable to work because of COVID from December of 2021 until the end of April of 2022. Modify the AT, late appeal, claimant not able to work from 1/2/22 to 4/30 of 22, set aside ruling on 1/28/22 determination. Alternatively, the claimant reported to the commission that he was able to work full-time without restrictions on October 20th of 2022. Modify the AT, late appeal, claimant not able to work 1/2/22 to 10/22/22. Set aside the ruling on 1/28 of 22 determination.
Okay, we should modify the appeal tribunal decision. Concerning timeliness, the claimant did not file a timely appeal due to his lack of understanding about the appeal process. Since there are no good cause exceptions to the timeliness rules, we should dismiss the claimant's February 2nd, 2022 appeal as late. Second, I do not contest that the commission can assume continuing jurisdiction as of January 19th, 2022. Moreover, we should set aside the portion of the AT decision which affirmed the January 28, 2022 determination. Concerning the ability issue, the claimant was unable to work starting the benefit week of January 2nd, 2022, due complications arising from an illness. Since the claimant only informed the commission about his ability to work as of the date of the AT hearing, the claimant's ability to work should be closed the week ending December 3rd, 2022. As such, we should modify the AT decision. Untimely claimant appeal. Establish continuing jurisdiction as of January 19th, 2022. Set aside the portion of the AT decision which affirmed the January 28th, 2022 determination. Ability not eligible from January 2nd, 2022 through December 3rd, 2022.
Reverse the AT, timely claimant appeal. Claimant not able to work January 2nd, 2022 through December 3rd, 2022. Set aside the portion of the decision affirming the January 28th, 2022 determination.
We have majority vote that the appeal is late unless one of the other commissioners would like to amend the
I'm
vote.
going to agree with the chairman.
Timely appeal
Uh-huh.
and not eligible January 2nd, 2022 through December 3rd, 2022.
That's correct.
Set aside the January 28th determination.
Correct.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3430588, Commissioner Dimerson.
The commission should grant a rehearing in this case. In its appeal to the commission, the employer states that the decision in question was not delivered until after the appeal deadline had passed. Accordingly, we should rehear the case to obtain testimony from the employer regarding the late delivery of the decision in question.
The employer filed a late appeal to the AT decision. There is no good cause exception to the timeliness rule. Dismiss the employer's appeal as late, the AT decision ruling on the validity of the claim and suitable work issues remains in full force and effect.
Rehear.
We will rehear the case.
Case number 3466410, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not correct. The claimant worked for a home health care agency and his assignment ended when his client's contract expired. Though the complainant was not separated from employment by his assignment ending, the claimant was not offered another assignment for over 3 weeks prior to filing his claims for benefits. The employer's failure to offer the claimant's additional work after his assignment ended severed the employment relationship. Therefore, the claimant was laid off due to lack of work when he was not offered additional work following the end of his assignment. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
The appeal tribunal decision should be affirmed. The employer stated that the claimant quit because he did not want to take on new clients. In addition, the employer stated that all points of the claimant's employment and even after there was work available for him. As such, the claimant quit without work-connected good cause. We should therefore affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Case number 3467123, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not correct. The employer discharged the claimant based on allegations that the claimant was rude to a coworker. The claimant denied being rude to a coworker, and the employer provided no firsthand testimony regarding the claimant's conduct, relying solely on hearsay testimony and unsworn statements. The employer has failed to provide sufficient evidence to establish that the claimant engaged in the alleged misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
The appeal tribunal decision should be affirmed. The claimant was discharged for violation of the employer's policy that coworkers should be treated with respect and friendliness. Despite multiple warnings, the employer stated that the final incident consisted of the claimant calling another coworker stupid. Since the claimant continued to violate the employer's policy after being warned, she mismanaged her position of employment. As such, we should affirm the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback.
Affirm the AT, misconduct, no chargeback.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3475914, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not correct. The claimant worked for the employer, a temporary help firm, for several years, during which he had other separations from the named employer due to the assignment's ending. While the employer's policy required employees to report back for reassignment by going to the employer's office to sign their logbook, the claimant had never been required to do so. After his last assignment ended and before filing for additional claim, he contacted his recruiter and was told that the employer did not have any work available for him. He was not instructed to report in person to sign the logbook. Therefore, the claimant was laid off due to lack of work when he reported for reassignment over the phone and no further work was offered. Reverse the AT, no misconduct.
The appeal tribunal decision should be affirmed. The claimant failed to report for reassignment after his assignment had ended. Per the employer's policy, the claimant was required to sign the employer's availability log, or if it was not located near the employer's place of business, he was to report his availability in writing. The claimant did neither. Furthermore, the employer's policy advised the claimant that there could be an adverse impact on employment benefits for failing to follow the policy. In addition, the claimant admitted that his signature appeared on the policy acknowledgement. Accordingly, the preponderance of the credible evidence establishes that the claimant quit without work-connected good cause. Should therefore affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving.
Affirm the AT, voluntary leaving.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Case number 3480330, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision should be modified. The employer discharged the claimant after she was absent from work on 10/31 of 22. The claimant provided notice of her absence to the employer and was absent that day because her minor daughter was in the emergency room. Therefore, since the claimant's final absence, which resulted in her discharge, was with notice and due to a medically verified illness of her minor child, she was discharged for reasons other than misconduct connected with the work. Modify the AT, no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant was discharged for exceeding the allowable attendance points. Because disqualification is appropriate, we should affirm the AT decision. Misconduct, no chargeback.
Modify the AT, no misconduct, no chargeback, MVI.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3481323, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is incorrect. 2 days before the patient was scheduled to be seen at the claimant's clinic, her supervisor gave her permission to switch job duties with the coworker, so the claimant and the patient would not have contact. This patient, who was also a former coworker, had previously harassed the claimant. There is no evidence that the claimant was warned that she could not be, or that she could be discharged for switching duties with her coworker. The claimant did not refuse a work assignment and denied under oath the allegations that she caused a workplace disturbance. The employer has the burden to prove misconduct, and the employer's secondhand testimony is insufficient to prove the alleged acts of misconduct. Additionally, to avoid encountering this patient in the future, the claimant requested a transfer to another employer location. Merely requesting a transfer does not constitute misconduct. Reverse the AT, no misconduct.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant admitted that she was discharged for refusing to carry out her assigned duties. Under the employer's policy, disregarding patient care and failing to perform assigned duties could result in dismissal. Thus, the claimant mismanaged her position of employment, and we should affirm the AT decision, misconduct.
Reverse the AT, no misconduct.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Dimerson.
Thank you.
Case number 3493263, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision should be reversed. The client company notified the claimant that her temporary assignment would be ending at the end of the week. The claimant immediately contacted her recruiter to inform the employer that the assignment was ending. and asked for help finding a new job. Then on the day of the assignment ended, the claimant sent the recruiter an email to make herself available for immediate reassignment. However, the recruiter did not respond to the claimant. Therefore, the claimant effectively made herself available for reassignment when she took several steps to immediately inform the employer of her availability for further assignments. In doing so, the claimant fulfilled the requirements of section 207.045H. Since she was not offered any additional assignments after making herself available for further work, the claimant was laid off due to lack of work. We should reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. I understand that the claimant may have contacted the employer via email on the day her assignment ended. However, the employer's reporting policy, which the claimant admitted not reading, required her to report to the office in person to sign the available for work list. Since the claimant failed to do this and in accordance with commission precedent, the claimant is considered to have quit without good cause connected with the work. Should affirm the AT decision, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Affirm the AT, voluntary leaving, no chargeback.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir, Commissioner Trevino. And that was the last unemployment insurance case pulled for additional discussion on docket 39. You should have received the UI short form dissent list for docket 39.
Thank you, ma'am. I'd like to request to clarify one of my short form dissents
Certainly.
on case number 3165129.
Yes, sir.
To show that the short form only applies to the ability issue only, not the timeliness.
Yes, sir. We'll note that.
Okay, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Let's see here. I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 39, except for the case on which I'm dissenting as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 39.
I second the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 39.
And I concur with chairman's motion, except for those cases in which I am dissenting as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 39.
Motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you. Continuing with docket 40.
Case number 3002971, Commissioner Dimerson.
You should reverse the appeal tribunal decision regarding good cause. The employer's general manager testified that he missed the first hearing due to non-receipt of the hearing packet. In addition, the owner submitted an appeal stating that he missed the hearing due to a family emergency. Under either scenario, the employer established good cause for its non-appearance. Should also note that there was a period of more than 9 months from the date of the employer's appeal to the date of the first AT hearing. That was followed by an additional 6 months before the second AT hearing was scheduled. Such delays are substantial and may explain why the employer's witness was a little fuzzy on some of the details. Accordingly, we should find that the employer established good cause for its non-appearance and resubmit the case for merits testimony.
The AT decision is correct. The employer provided inconsistent statements regarding their failure to appear at the AT1 hearing and have failed to establish good cause for missing the hearing. Affirm the AT, no good cause, late response to maximum potential chargeback. Employer's account remains charged.
Modify the AT. Employer did not establish good cause for AT1. Timely response to the NMPC, no chargeback.
I'm going to agree with the chairman.
Yes, sir. So the majority vote is untimely, no good cause to reopen the hearing. Timely response, no chargeback.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3041883, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant was fired for making a hyperbolic statement to a team member. The claimant made the statement many times as a joke in the workplace, and everyone, including management, knew that the claimant issued the statement in jest. The claimant was never warned that it could be considered a threat under the employer's policies. Since the employer permitted the claimant to use the statement repeatedly in the workplace without warning that it was unacceptable, they condoned the claimant's behavior, and the claimant's issue of the statement in a joking manner did not rise to the level of misconduct. Reverse the AT, no misconduct.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant was terminated for making a threat of grave physical harm. Although the claimant alleged that she made the threat in a joking fashion, the employer maintained a zero tolerance policy on threats at the workplace. Since the claimant made a threat of physical harm in violation of the employer's workplace policy, the claimant's conduct was mismanagement of her position of employment. As such, we should affirm the AT decision, misconduct.
Reverse the AT, no misconduct.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Case number 3114527, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT2 decision is correct. There was a lengthy delay in scheduling the employer's appeal for the AT1 hearing, which was not the claimant's fault. The claimant had stopped filing payments requests 7 months before the AT1 hearing was scheduled and was living in a domestic violence shelter. And though she attempted to keep the commission updated with her address so that she could be contacted, she failed to include the suite number, and the AT1 decision was returned to the commission as undeliverable. The claimant's petition to reopen was late because she did not receive the AT1 decision. Affirm the AT2 decision, deem the claimant's petition to reopen timely, and resubmit.
We should reverse the appeal tribunal decision. The claimant's Rule 16 petition to reopen was late because she failed to accurately update the commission with her correct address of record. Since the AT decision was sent to the claimant's address on file, and because there are no good cause exceptions to the timeliness rules, we should deem the claimant's Rule 16 petition to reopen as late and leave the AT1 decision in full force and effect. As such, we should set aside the AT2 decision. Untimely Rule 16 petition to reopen, valid claim, voluntary leaving, reimbursing employer not billed, and adequate employer response.
Timely petition to reopen, resubmit.
We will resubmit the case.
Case number 3395979, Commissioner Trevino.
I agree that the employer had good cause for missing the hearing. Regarding the separation, the claimant, who only had been employed for 3 months, was verbally asked by the attorney to draft a settlement acceptance email. The claimant did not fully understand the request and sought clarification on a specific word the attorney directed her to use. The claimant did not refuse the task and sent the email later that day after clarifying the language with the attorney. While the attorney may have felt the exchange with the claimant was awkward, the claimant denied being rude or acting inappropriately. The hearing officer was in the best position to judge the credibility of the witness's testimony and determined that the claimant was merely seeking clarification rather than being insubordinate. The claimant denied receiving any prior warnings, and the claimant's inability to perform the task without seeking clarification did not constitute misconduct. Affirm the AT, good cause, no misconduct, void chargeback.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision concerning good cause. The employer did not participate in the AT1 hearing because they did not receive the hearing packet. As such, the employer established good cause for missing the AT hearing. Concerning the job separation, although the claimant received prior warnings for insubordinate behavior, the claimant was terminated when she acted in a defiant fashion by refusing to timely complete a work task. Since the claimant was previously warned about her behavior, the claimant's refusal to comply with the employer's instructions for completing the task was mismanagement of her position of employment. As such, we should modify the appeal tribunal decision. The employer established good cause for missing the AT1 hearing, misconduct, void the no chargeback ruling.
Modify the AT, employer established good cause for AT1, misconduct, void chargeback.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
Case number 3409610, Commissioner Dimerson.
We should grant the employer's motion for rehearing. The employer PEO was not sent the notice of application for unemployment benefits after being listed as the LEU the last employment unit for the claim. Since the notice was sent to the employer's client company and not to the employer's address of record, we should hold the employer's response to the claim as timely. Void the October 14, 2022 determination. Also set aside the prior CA decision and deem the employer a party of interest. Concerning the job separation, the claimant was terminated when he violated the employer's policy on misappropriation of company assets. Although the claimant acknowledged the employer's policy and was aware that he required express consent from a supervisor for the use of the fleet gas card to fill a personal vehicle, the claimant did not follow the employer's policy. Since the claimant was aware of the employer's policy on the misappropriation of company assets, the claimant's use of the company's fleet card without express consent from his supervisor was mismanagement of his position of employment. As such, we should grant the employer's motion for rehearing, set aside the prior CA decision, void the October 14, 22 determination, October 14, 22 determination, add employer as a party of interest, misconduct, no chargeback, overpayment, and inadequate employer response.
The employer's MR should be granted on a limited basis. The employer should be deemed a party of interest, and the commission decision dismissing the employer's appeal should be set aside. However, the AT hearing sufficiently developed the record regarding the merits of this case, and rehearing is unnecessary. The employer did not meet the rehearing threshold, as they did not provide a compelling reason why they did not offer their evidence at the hearing. The employer is a professional employer organization. There is no evidence that the claimant was required to report back for further work when his assignment ended, so the claimant was discharged by the employer when his assignment with the client ended. The client's attorney met with the client or the claimant and gave the claimant the option to resign or be fired. And if he did not resign, threatened him with criminal charges of theft. The claimant denied the theft charges and asked to speak to the client's company's owner, who permitted him to use a credit card. The attorney refused to allow the claimant to speak to the owner, and the claimant resigned. Under these circumstances, the separation was a discharge. The claimant denied the theft allegations under oath, and the client's policy permitted the employee to use the client's fuel card to fill a personal vehicle with permission. The owner gave the claimant such permission, and the employer's hearsay evidence is insufficient to prove the alleged act constituted misconduct. Grant the MR without a rehearing, set aside the CA decision, void the 10-14-22 late protest determination. Employer is party of interest, no misconduct, chargeback, no overpayment.
Grant the motion for rehearing, set aside the CA decision, void the October 14, 2022 untimely protest determination. Employer is a party of interest, rehear, including for firsthand employer testimony.
Agree with the chairman.
Yes, sir. We will rehear the case and resubmit.
Case number 3466203, Commissioner Trevino.
The decision is not correct. The claimant testified that he was available for full-time work and that he has applied for full-time jobs, though he has never received any offer for one. The claimant's participation in a rent assistance program does not preclude him from accepting full-time work. Additionally, though the claimant testified that he would have to have enough money to take the bus, the payment of benefits would have ensured that he would have transportation while searching for work. The claimant has been available for full-time work at all times during the claim. Reverse CAT, claimant available for work, no overpayment.
We should affirm the appeal tribunal decision. In fact, finding statements provided months before the hearing and prior to imposition of the ineligibility, the claimant stated that he was unwilling to work full-time because he did not want to lose his rent subsidy. The claimant added that he could only work 20 hours per week and could not make adjustments to accept full-time work. Because the preponderance of the credible evidence established that the claimant was not available for full-time work, the ineligibility and overpayment are appropriate. Affirming the AT decision, availability, not eligible beginning December 26, 2021, overpayment of $295.
Affirm the AT, claimant not available for work beginning December 26, 2021, overpayment.
Short form dissent, ma'am.
Yes, sir, Commissioner.
Case number 3490787, Commissioner Dimerson.
The appeal tribunal decision should be modified only to sever the adequate response issue. The claimant was discharged for failing to carry out his responsibility of performing inspections. Initially, the claimant demonstrated that he was able to perform to the employer's expectations. In fact, the employer stated that the claimant's performance was good for the first year or so, but that his performance declined thereafter. The employer also stated that nothing had changed about the claimant's job duties during that time. The claimant would eventually receive a final written warning regarding his performance. The claimant contended that he was supposed to have been called when an inspection was to be performed, but the employer refuted this contention by stating that such a call was only a courtesy and that it was ultimately the claimant's job to monitor the product as it was being produced. In addition, the claimant's testimony indicates that the phone reception in the quality control area was horrible, which should have resulted in the claimant placing less reliance on being notified by call that an inspection needed to be done. Instead, the claimant should have just been present when the product was being produced, as noted by the employer. As such, the claimant's actions constituted work-connected misconduct. We should therefore modify the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, sever adequate employer response.
The AT decision is incorrect. The claimant was transferred to a coat and lining inspector and was never properly trained. The production department did not always notify the claimant when the products were ready for inspection, and his job duties did not permit him to always be on the production floor. The claimant could not be held responsible for the product being shipped without the inspection when the production department shipped the product without waiting for the product to be inspected. The claimant's new supervisor warned the claimant about his performance, but did not comply with the terms of the employer's disciplinary policy. The claimant's inability to perform the work to his new supervisor's satisfaction without proper training and without the benefits of progression through the required disciplinary steps did not constitute misconduct. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Case number 3494654, Commissioner Trevino.
The AT decision is not supportable. The claimant admitted that she hung up on a customer instead of transferring the customer to a supervisor, as was required by the employer's policy. However, the customer made a terroristic threat against the employer's business and then made a derogatory remark to the complainant. The customer's behavior far exceeded the normal expectations of dealing with the difficult customer, and the claimant's response was understandably given under the circumstances. Additionally, the employer admitted that the claimant had no history of discipline. Therefore, the claimant's action did not constitute misconduct connected with the work. Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
We should modify the appeal tribunal decision. I acknowledge that the claimant faced a difficult situation when she interacted with the customer who communicated a serious threat of mass violence. However, she should have escalated the call to the management instead of hanging up on the customer. Because the claimant was aware of the employer's protocol and failed to follow it, she mismanaged her position of employment. She therefore modified the AT decision, misconduct, no chargeback, sever the adequate employer response.
Reverse the AT, no misconduct, chargeback, void adequate response.
Short form dissent.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Case number 3497373, Commissioner Dimerson.
3497373. Okay. The commission should grant a rehearing in this case. The claimant was discharged for failing to maintain a safe stopping distance due to violating the employer's safety policy on cell phone use in company vehicles. The employer has submitted pictures of the violation for the commission consideration. However, they are of poor quality. In addition, an email and file documents indicates that there is a video that shows the claimant on the phone with the video playing. Since the final incident has had to do with matters of safety, a rehearing for better quality pictures and the video should be conducted. Should therefore rehear the case and instruct the employer to submit better quality photos and its video evidence.
The AT decision should be affirmed. The employer terminated the claimant due to an unavoidable accident involving multiple trucks. The employer based its termination on the citation that the claimant received as a result of the accident. However, that citation for following too closely was later dismissed. The employer failed to establish that the claimant's accident violated any company's safety policies or procedures. Therefore, the employer failed to meet its burden of proving that the claimant was discharged for misconduct. Affirm the AT, no misconduct, charge back.
Rehear.
We will rehear the case. And that was the last unemployment insurance case pulled for additional discussion on docket 40. You should have received the unemployment insurance short form dissent list for docket 40.
I move we accept staff recommendations on the remaining UI cases on docket 40.
Yeah, second it.
I got one dissent, except for the case on which I'm dissenting, as reflected on the UI short form dissent list for docket 40.
Yeah. Second the chairman's motion, except for the cases on which I'm dissenting, as reflected in the UI short form dissent list for docket 40.
And I concur with Chairman's motion, except for those cases in which I am dissenting as reflected on UI short form dissent list for docket 40.
And the motion passes with the exceptions noted.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. That brings us to the end of agenda items 1 through 8. We'll take a short recess. All right, this is agenda item 9, proposed rules for 40 TAC Chapter 800 reporting workplace violence.
Good morning, Chairman Daniel, Commissioner Dimerson, Commissioner Trevino, and Mr. Cerna. For the record, I'm John Picorni, Policy Director with Fraud Deterrence and Compliance Monitoring. Commissioners, before you today, for your consideration and approval, are proposed rule amendments to Chapter 800, General Administration, and new Subchapter N. Last session, the legislature passed and the governor approved HB 915, which added Chapter 104A to the Labor Code and requires employers to post a notice to employees that they can anonymously report workplace violence or suspicious activities to DPS. HB 915 also required TWC to consult with DPS and to provide the form and content of the reporting workplace violence poster by rule no later than March 1st, 2024. We collaborated with DPS on the proposed rule language and the methods of reporting. The proposed rule provides an English and Spanish version of the poster as required by HB 915. The proposed rule also states that TWC will make the poster available for free on the agency's website, similar to other workplace posters. Staff recommends submitting the proposed rule for publication in the Texas Register for a 30-day public comment period. Staff also requests the ability to make minor, non-substantive changes to the document to comply with the publication requirements of the Texas Register and the Office of the Secretary of State. This concludes my presentation. I'm available to answer any questions that you may have.
Any comments or questions?
None here.
None here.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the proposed new 40 Texas Administrative Code, Chapter 800, Subchapter N, reporting workplace violence for publication in the Texas Register and public comment as recommended today by staff.
I second the motion.
Motion carries. This is agenda item 10, board nominations.
Good morning, Chairman, Commissioners, and Mr. Cerna. For the record, Shanta Williams with Workforce Development. And today for your consideration, we have Workforce Board nominations for Concho Valley, West Central, Rural Capital Area, and Southeast Texas. Staff recommends approval on the presented nominees, and I'm here to answer any questions you have.
Any comments or questions?
None here.
None here.
Is there a motion?
I move that we approve the local Workforce Development Board member nominees presented today for the following: Workforce Solutions, Concho Valley, West Central Texas, Rural Capital Area, and Southeast Texas.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded, motion carries.
Thank you.
A legislative report.
We have one.
Yeah, as a dead giveaway.
Morning, Chairman Daniel, Commissioner Dimerson, Commissioner Trevino, and Mr. Cerna. For the record, Michael Britt, Governmental Relations. This past Saturday, the U.S. Congress passed and the President signed into law H.R. 5860. This bill continues federal government funding at current levels through November 17th of this year. Regarding the state legislature, also over the weekend, Governor Abbott notified the Lieutenant Governor and the Speaker of the House that he will call the Texas legislature into special session beginning next Monday, October 9th at 1 o'clock in the afternoon. The governor's notice did indicate that he will issue the formal proclamation, which will include the specific issues on the call sometime before next Monday. This concludes my remarks. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
And none here.
None here.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
An executive director's report. Is there any other order of business coming before the commission?
Mr. Chairman, let me take this opportunity real quick. I visited last week, 3 weeks ago, with the governor and others about the Texas Economic Development Corporation position over there. And so I'm going to actually be tendering, have tendered a resignation effective November the 6th with the agency, and we'll be taking that position. I wanted to mention that here because the press release will be coming out in that regard. And so delighted to have met with Governor Abbott and also with Vicki Hall, was chair of the Economic Development Board of Directors. And so we'll relinquish this position and then assume that position as the president and CEO of that organization effective November the 6th. And so appreciate the time here. We have an entire month to go through. And so I have a lot of pre-committed events and activities, and I want to carry those out and also to work with you guys to make sure that we're not stacking up dockets and the like. And so we'll carry that through November as appointments does their work as well. But more to come in that regard, but wanted to put that on record, so that, it's known, from that standpoint. And so appreciate everything, and we'll have more to come, as we lean down the line. But thank you for the opportunity.
Well, congratulations. I was on the board of directors of that organization for nearly 5 years. They do great work. You're an excellent choice to lead that. Good luck. It's a big job, but I think you're up to the task.
Appreciate that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Yeah, and congratulations. I mean, I could have read some of the motions if that would have changed your opinion, but congratulations, and I wish you the best. We're gonna miss you.
I did hear him under his breath, Commissioner, say, "That's it. That is it." I don't know what that was in
I
reference.
did start rushing that last motion or what have you. Yeah, but it's an exciting opportunity, and like yourself, Chairman, an opportunity to work with that board, when I served in that position, as well, on the board and then off the board as well. So looking forward to the opportunities working with the Economic
Yeah, it's a
Development
good group.
Tourism Office. That's it.
All right.
Commissioner, on behalf of the staff, congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry to see you go, but
Yeah.
anything that we can do to help, let us know.
Always. Thank you.
Anything else?
Tee us up to move. Am I moving or?
That'll be interesting to see. Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded to adjourn, and we're adjourned.